President Buhari hosts Turkish counterparts Recep Erdogan on a two-day visit to Nigeria. Vice President Oshibajo receives White House delegation. Thumbs up, U.S. President Biden, new climate change global agenda.
The letters of appointment have been issued. It is my place to ensure that they start work immediately.
PIA implementation will end uncertainty in Nigeria's oil and gas. Petroleum Minister explains as DPR, PEF, and PPRA cease to exist. Good evening and thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. I am Ian Ray John. Michael Olaleye joins me from Lagos. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari hosts President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey to a two-day official visit to Nigeria, accompanied by the First Lady, Mrs. Erdogan. President Erdogan is expected to come in from Angola and depart to Togo at the end of his visit. In the course of the visit, the leaders of the two countries are expected to consider about 24 bilateral agreements and memoranda of understanding. In addition to the bilateral discussions, President Erdogan will hold one-on-one meeting with President Buhari and expected to commission the Turkish Cultural Center in Abuja, while his wife, accompanied by the First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, is expected to commission the newly renovated government secondary school in Wuse 2. The school was renovated by a Turkish aid organization, the Turkish Cooperation and Coordinating Agency. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria is glad that the Biden administration is fully back on board the climate change global agenda and the commendable restoration of the U.S. government's support for the Paris Agreement. The Vice President said this when he received a U.S. government delegation led by the White House Deputy National Security Advisor, Jonathan Finer, who is currently visiting Nigeria. State House correspondent Didi Onifade reports.
Nigeria's position regarding a just transition from fossil fuels to clean energy ahead of the net zero emissions 2050 target. The Vice President said government is concerned about some of what has been going on, especially around gas as an effective transition fuel, and how many of the development finance institutions and some countries are insisting that gas projects should be defunded. Regarding the Democracy Summit President Joe Biden would be hosting later in the year, the Vice President stated that Nigeria looked forward to participating at the summit. The Vice President also spoke about how to ensure that illicit financial flows are discouraged, while adding that the international monetary and financial systems have a role in stopping it. On security concerns in relation to the activities of ISWAP and ISIS, the Vice President recognized the role of the global coalition to defeat ISIS as a very important initiative. Also, the Vice President expressed the gratitude of the federal government to the United States government for donating over 3.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria. Head of the delegation, Fina, had earlier informed the Vice President of a potential partnership with Nigeria on a G7 infrastructure program, Build Back Better World, which the United States President has made a priority. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the Muslim Ummah, Nigerians of all faith and followers of Islam all over the world, on the occasion of Maulud Nabi, the birthday of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In a message to mark the occasion, President Buhari says, and I quote, "I am delighted to send greetings of peace, unity and goodwill to the Muslim Ummah, fellow citizens and Muslims all over the world as they observe and celebrate Eid al-Maulud." The President urges Muslims to strive for forgiveness and closeness to the noble life and teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whose birthday has been marked on this blessed day. He uses the occasion to give a snapshot of the increased activities the armed forces, police force and intelligence agencies have embarked upon to effectively respond to the security challenges in the nation. President Buhari adds that increased cooperation and collaboration from the citizenry, coupled with reinvigorated, dynamic and energized police, security and military leadership is helping the administration secure more victories against terror, criminality and economic sabotage. President Buhari appeals to road users to drive with care and avoid needless accidents. Today is Eid al-Maulud, and some prominent Nigerians have extended their well wishes to citizens, especially to the Muslim faithful. Sawa Khalil Ibrahim compiled the messages.
Miller said, though Nigeria is facing some challenges at the moment, he noted that with prayers and unity of purpose, the country shall overcome them. He urged all Nigerians to continue to be security vigilant wherever they are, as he expressed optimism that Nigeria and Nigerians will come out stronger. Also, Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Bako Lalong, has congratulated the Muslim Ummah as they join their counterpart worldwide to mark this year's Eid al-Maulud. Lalong says this special occasion teaches love, forgiveness, peaceful coexistence and humility among other virtues of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He added that failure of humanity to practice these virtues is what has given rise to selfishness, violence, intolerance, religious bigotry, ethnic hatred, corruption, high crime rate, and unimaginable level of wickedness that is prevalent in various forms. The forum wishes Muslim Ummah a happy Eid al-Maulud. In vain, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has urged Nigerians to use the occasion of this year's Eid al-Maulud to make commitment towards a rebirth in all areas of national life. The party highlighted that the celebration of the birth of Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, presents another good opportunity for the nation to put behind all issues that cause disunity and disaffection and activate a new beginning of embracing the virtues of love for one another, tolerance, mutual understanding, and forgiveness in line with the teachings of the Holy Prophet. The PDP insists that such is the only way to move the nation forward. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
And away from Eid al-Maulud now, the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, will end the era of uncertainty in the oil and gas sector. Minister of State Petroleum Resources Temipre Silva said as the two regulatory agencies birthed by the PIA take effect, investors sitting on the fence are expected to take decisive decisions according to the clarity it provides. Lydia Sampson reports.
Department of Petroleum Resources, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, and the Petroleum Equalization Fund are all officially scrapped. This development is in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act. Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, reiterates that the Act, which makes it clear that workers of the three agencies will be protected, said their chief executives had been relieved of their various appointments.
The successor agencies are already in place. The president, in his wisdom, has appointed the chief executives and the chairman of the boards. And on Friday, their letters of appointment have been issued. It is my place to ensure that they start work immediately. There should be no vacuum at all.
The Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, stated this while inaugurating the boards of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission in Abuja. He explained that with the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act, the NPRA and the NURC have taken over the functions of the DPR, PPPRA, and PEF. The law states that all the assets and staff of the DPR are to be invested on the Commission and also in the authority. The law also repeals the DPR Act, the Petroleum Inspectorate Act, the Petroleum Equalization Fund Act, and the PPPRA Act. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Perhaps one of the most cheering news of the time is Nigeria's show of capacity to produce electric and gas-powered vehicles in line with the nation's determined contribution to the Paris Agreement on reducing carbon emissions. Here is Onengiye Fanface with details of a made-in-Nigeria electric car in motion.
Sharon Ikazo is Nigeria's Minister of State Environment. Mrs. Ikazo is taking this brand new car for a drive. Well, that is not uncommon and certainly not the news. The news, however, is that this car is made in Nigeria. More so, it is an electric car, one of several innovations by the National Automotive Design Development Council.
And what's really exciting is that this vehicle is assembled in Nigeria in the old Volkswagen of Nigeria assembly plant. So this is a vehicle that would allow the nation to more easily meet the targets of the Paris Accord.
It is designed to make transportation in Nigeria clean, green, and noiseless.
The engine, no sound, no heat. You saw us open the bonnet. You couldn't touch the bonnet or the engine of a petrol-fueled car. But this one you could, yeah, and no smoke as well, no emissions. That's the key thing. With time, it becomes affordable for ordinary Nigerians.
Demonstration done. Time now to get to work, to scale the production of more eco-friendly vehicles and, most important, make them available and affordable for all Nigerians. Onengiye Fanface, NTA News.
With available data, Nigeria can now attract qualified investors to explore the mineral deposit across the country. Minister of Mines and State Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, raised the hope at the presentation of the National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project report. Joseph Otsen reports.
The Nigerian government initiated the National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project geoscience information, both in the green and brown fields. 2 out of the 5 contractors engaged for the exercise have completed their work and are presenting their reports.
Nigeria has orogenic gold belt that is largely untouched.
The federal government spends about $300 million a year in the importation of barytes, and we have barytes.
Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, believes that available data will de-risk the mining sector and attract investors.
We have a few people who've taken licenses, have not been able to do the proper work on these areas. But because they already have the licenses, we have to do some linkages, with the investors, because most of these people do not have the wherewithal to develop these mines.
Now we have data from drilling, we have data from soil sampling, we have a lot of data coming in. Investors believe in this kind of data.
The government is exploring the mining sector as part of its diversification policy. The data presented indicates there are sufficient minerals to facilitate industrial revolution in the country. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Let's take a break. Please stay. Thank you for staying. President Muhammadu Buhari sends warm felicitations to former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, on his 87th birthday, rejoicing with the leader and his family on the grace for good health and strength to keep serving. President Buhari congratulates General Yakubu on the formidable role he continues to play in the development of the country, always advocating peace and unity and consistently remaining a voice of reason and wisdom in good governance and democracy. President Buhari had a telephone conversation with the former head of state and wished him all days. General Gowon, who initiated the conversation, said he called to wish the president and, through him, all Muslims happy Eid al-Maulud. Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari extends birthday greetings to Dr. Abdul Wahab Awa Ibrahim, the CEO of Integrated Consultancy Management Accountants, and wished him long and healthy life in the service of the people. President Buhari said the nation remains indebted to Awa Ibrahim for his enormous contributions to national development in the areas of accounting and finance, and commended his growing interest in corporate social responsibility. In other news, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has rearranged two British nationals, James Richard Nolan and Adam Quinn, before a federal high court in Abuja for their alleged complicity in the controversial process and industrial development gas processing contract leading to the $9.6 billion arbitral award to P&ID Limited by United Kingdom Commercial Court. The defendants, both directors of Goidel Resources Limited, a designated non-financial institution, were docked on a 32-count charge bordering on money laundering after the charges were read. The third defendant, James Richard Nolan, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Adam Quinn, who is at large, was not available to make his plea. But prosecution counsel Ekele Iheanacho requested that his plea be recorded as guilty, which the judge granted. In view of Nolan's not guilty plea, Iheanacho asked the court for a trial date. However, defense counsel Michael Ajara applied to the court for the defendant to continue enjoying the bail granted to him by Justice Okon Abang, which the prosecution counsel did not oppose. Justice Okorowa adjourned the matter till December 13, 2021 for commencement of trial. And in Jalingo, the Federal High Court sitting in Jalingo has set aside its earlier judgment delivered in 2019, where it barred the then Deputy Governor of Taraba State, Sani Abubakar Danladi, participating in all elections from 2019. The presiding judge, Justice Simon Amobeda, said the court has jurisdiction to reverse itself if there is a need for it. Adamu Haruna Adams has details of the report.
Recall, in the build-up to the 2019 governorship election in Taraba State, specifically on the 6th day of March 2019, the Federal High Court sitting in Jalingo disqualified the then APC governorship candidate Sani Abubakar Danladi from participating in the 2019 governorship election and subsequent elections. The decision followed a suit filed by one Usman Udi and 3 others against Sani Danladi over discrepancy in the first defendant's date of birth. However, following application by the first defendant, Sani Danladi, the presiding judge, Justice Simon Amobida, maintains that the defendant applicant, Sani Danladi, has a backing affidavit to enable him use his documents and will be able to participate in any election.
Aggrieved by that decision, we came back to this court, which made those orders to have those orders set aside. And his lordship, in his wisdom, in the ordered judgment just delivered by him, set aside that judgment and the orders made therein, that he was wrongly disqualified.
Efforts to hear from other parties to the suit prove abortive. In Jalingo, Adamu Haruna Adams, NTA News.
And away from the courtroom, passion or zeal is always revealed in words and acts of service. The chief executive of the Search Inwards magazine, Khadija Abdullahi Iya, driven by passion, has launched a platform to transform the lives of some Nigerian youths who have excelled in various fields of their endeavor. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila has the details.
The cardinal principle of what we stand.
Apart from the one-year mandatory service to the nation by these youth corps members, becoming such inward social ambassadors is another milestone in their service year. Sharing their experiences in the 9-month engagement in the SAISA, some of them describe it as a tree planted and ready to give out fruits. Charles Etafo emerged as the overall ambassador, cutting across SAISA Social Media Representative of the Year, Community Service of the Year Award, among other special recognitions.
So I'm going to put myself in place of leadership in Nigeria so that I can do my best and change things and make Nigeria the country we want Nigeria to be, the country we dream of.
26-year-old Valawi Richards from Plateau State dedicated an emotion-laden song for building a good leadership among the SAISA family for national development. Launch of a platform for the Ambassadors Community Sentinels African Network is a journey for a brighter future.
Now the concept of this is to imbibe in you how you can continue this journey even after your graduation.
Young people today represent hope for the future. Today's youth have the potential
to shape the world in the present and in the future.
I feel that if we have the right values, the right value system, our children understand the concept of service and can also care enough and are patriotic and can volunteer, can give of themselves. I feel that Nigeria will be a better story tomorrow.
To her, building a national network for social transformation and sustainable development is rebuilding the sense of togetherness and advance ethical differences among African youth. Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
The new Partnership for African Development, NEPAD, is targeting the cultivation of 4 million hectares of farmland across 22 states in Nigeria within the next 10 years. During a consultative meeting with representatives of some state governments in Abuja, officials of the African Union Development Agency say thousands of smallholder farmers in the country will be empowered with agricultural inputs under the African Forest and Land Restoration Initiative.
Already, that will be over 22,000. Apart from creating direct employment for the small-scale farmers, they also will have to employ people to work on their farms. So it's not just direct employment that we are looking at, but indirect employment also.
There are approximately 700 million of hectares of degraded land forests in Africa. So we are working with all governments, all stakeholders to restore that degraded land. It is fertile. It's not that it is not. It is fertile, but it needs to be restored.
The African Union initiative is to help smallholder farmers recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and boost food security. Let's now talk politics. The All Progressives Congress has registered more than 1.2 million members in Zamfara State between August and October this year. Chairman of the APC Membership Registration and Revalidation Committee in the state, Ibrahim Kabiru Masari, made this known while presenting the new party register to Governor Bello Muhammad at the Government House, Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The defection of Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad to the All Progressives Congress, along with his teaming political associates and supporters in June this year, informed the decision of the party National Secretariat to embark on a new membership registration and revalidation exercise across the 14 local government areas of the state. A 7-man committee saddled with the responsibility of conducting the exercise, led by Ibrahim Masari, presented to the governor a comprehensive register of more than 1.2 million members registered by the party in the state between August and October this year. Masari said the figure of the registered APC members in Zamfara State would have been much higher if not for the prevailing security challenges.
Alhamdulillah, it was perfect. I am appealing to all APC members in Zamfara State to come and rally behind the executive governor, who is the leader of APC in Zamfara, so that to make progress in Zamfara State.
Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad, who applauded the committee for the good work, said the membership registration and revalidation is a continuous exercise as he relentlessly reaches out to the aggrieved party members in the state.
I am consulting each and every one of them, and I will continue so that we may have a peaceful congresses in all the world we have and the state in general.
The committee is expected to submit its report to the APC National Secretariat, which will pave way for the conduct of the pending congresses of the party in Zamfara State soonest. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
The erstwhile national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche Secondus, says he's not under pressure to withdraw his case against the party from court. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Prince Uche Secondus, through his media advisor Ike Aboni, explained that he's not in court against the party, but was dragged to court instead by a person allegedly bent on hijacking the soul of the party. The focus, according to Prince Secondus, is for justice to prevail, a process he's determined to pursue to save the party from people he referred to as hirelings out to destroy and derail the focus of the party. He maintains that his seeking justice is as enshrined in the PDP constitution, which is supreme, and states clearly how a national chairman and any national officer can be sanctioned. Meanwhile, the national leadership zonal and state executives of Arewa PDP support group, believes that the ongoing negotiations among PDP stakeholders, aspirants and PDP supporters on the best choices for the party's forthcoming elective national convention is a welcome development. Leader of the group lauds the emergence of former President of the Senate, Dr. Yoche Ayu, as the consensus national chairmanship candidate of the PDP for the North, describing it also as a welcome development, which portrays a good omen for the party.
It is also worthy to note that the position of National Secretary, which is zone to South, is very important. Therefore, the choice of Senator Samuel Emmanuel Anyawu from Southeast by a large number of the critical stakeholders from the South is indeed a welcome development.
This is just a position for the PDP Nigeria, not just Southeast. I'm only an instrument to be used by the Southeast.
The group promised to continue to mobilize members to fully participate in the forthcoming convention and 2023 election to give the PDP the taste of victory that they are striving for. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
And away from politics, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal says he was seriously touched by the banditry attack at the GORONYO market, describing the loss of 43 persons as unfortunate. The governor was on a condolence visit to the families and people of GORONYO local government. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
The bandits, numbering about 100, invaded the GORONYO market on Sunday evening at about 4:50 p.m., shooting sporadically, killing about 43 people and injuring many others. The injured are receiving treatment at hospitals.
I
was running and they were following me. They shot me 3 times. Out of the 4 of us that hide in a house, they killed 3. Even I was shot twice.
Tambol was accompanied by his deputy Manir Muhammad Aiya, Speaker, Sokoto State House of Assembly Aminu Muhammad Achida, Sultan Muhammad Saad, and his council members, State Executive Council, legislature, and heads of security agencies in the state. Governor Tambol, who described the loss of 43 lives at GORONYO Market as disheartening, expressed sympathy and commiserated with the families of the deceased. He also prayed for those who sustained injuries a quick recovery. Tambol also called on the people of the state to continue to cooperate with security operatives as the state government is working closely with the federal government to ensure peace returns to the troubled areas, especially the Sokoto Eastern Zone. He also called for fervent prayers and patience from the people of the state, saying with their cooperation, the ugly incidents of banditry would soon be addressed. Tambora emphasized the warning on the people of the troubled areas against taking the law into their hands. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Time now to join Michael in Lagos for more reports. Michael, it's over to you.
Thank you, Henry. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, has advised Lagos residents nursing the idea of holding another violent end-SARS protest to have a rethink, as the command will not give them a soft landing. Anita Nels reports that the Commissioner of Police stated this while carrying out what he called exercise show of force in Lagos.
Lekki Toll Plaza in Lagos, venue of last year's end-SARS hijacked protest, has remained in the news and may remain so, especially because of the negative effects of the protest that have continued to look at Nigerians in the face. With rumors and agitations by some Nigerians to mark its 1-year anniversary by holding yet another protest, the Lagos State Police Command embarked on exercise show of force.
It's meant to achieve 2 things. 1, deterrence, to let the criminally minded people to know that police is up to take care of them. So that's the one aspect. And the second aspect is to reassure members of the public that we are out to protect all the law-abiding citizens.
CP Hakim Odumosu says the command will only permit indoor and virtual events and promised to provide adequate security at acceptable venues. This, he says, is in recognition of the rights of every Nigerian to express their views.
But not for them to go on the streets, on foot. So now, carry placards chanting, people, members of the public now, instigating people, provoking people.
The Nigerian Police Lagos State Command is here at the scene of that protest. Here at Lekki Tollgate to forestall the breakdown of law and order by those who may want to embark on the protest again. CP Hakim Odumosu says they should be prepared to face the music. The Commissioner of Police advised law-abiding citizens to go about their lawful activities as the command has deployed adequate personnel and equipment to forestall loss of lives and property. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Acting Controller General of Immigration Issa Idris paid an unscheduled visit to the Lagos State Command in Ikeja and Ikoyi following reports of sharp practices by some officers of the service. Anuluwapo Oluwatoki has the report.
The unannounced visit was to investigate and verify allegations of sharp practices against immigration officers in the Lagos passport offices. To achieve this, the Acting Controller General Immigration says it disguised as a passport applicant and caught some officers in the act.
I visited Alausa and Ikoyi. In the two passport offices, I was presented with a menu of passport prices, 32 pages, 64 pages, 5 years and 10 years accordingly. 32 pages goes for 45,000 naira instead of 27. And for the breeder documents, I said I don't have. So I was charged 3,500 for the breeder documents. So put together, I was asked to pay 98,500 without any document. So you could see the challenge.
Assuring that the guilty officers will be punished accordingly, the immigration boss expressed determination to sanitize the service and end unnecessary difficulties in the process and issuance of international passports.
I want to assure that in the next 2 weeks, the minister will be launching an appointment platform whereby you key in, book your appointment, come and snap and go without doubt. The members of the public must know that you can pay online without necessarily having to come to the office. But mostly you see cash going around, exchanging hands. That should not be.
The Acting Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service was recently appointed to replace Muhammad Bambadede, who retired last month. In Lagos, Anuluwapo Oluwatoki, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports after this break. Please stay tuned.
Glad to have you back. Peace is the only ingredient that enriches individual and community development. This, the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Ronshawe, says Nigerians must collectively build to have a country they desire. He affirmed this at the grand finale of the National Unity Challenge Peace Competition, which held in Abuja. Joseph.
It is a competition that assesses cultural and national awareness of participants across Nigeria. They are grouped as teams to compete on issues of national peace and unity.
It takes you and heart to achieve this goal.
Team Empire emerges the winner. The exercise targets youths, encouraging them to give better narrative of Nigeria's unique diversity and project the dangers of fake news.
At a time, some people are calling for us to divide our lovely country. The Unity Challenge is coming up. That means the Unity Challenge is a roadmap of telling us that those calling for secession, for dividing this country, do not even understand where we started from.
There is no doubt that the nation is facing some security challenges, which are to a large extent fueled by fake news, misinformation, and disinformation through social media.
For the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, represented by the General Manager NTA Channel 5, Abuja, Ayo Adewumi, without peace, efforts and life in general is in vain and meaningless.
Peace attainment is a collective responsibility. Let us all add our voices to the forceful call for peace in our world. May I also remind you that we all need each other to progress, and that if you are insecure today, it is because we have neglected being each other's keeper.
The unveiling of the National Unity Challenge reality TV show to be televised on the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) gives more Nigerians chance to participate in the peace-building process. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Let's now join Benny Adams for some business news. Benny.
Thank you, Nyeri, and welcome to Business. We start by telling you that the United States government has made known its intention to partner with Nigeria on a G7 infrastructure program. This was disclosed by White House Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Finer during a visit to the presidential villa in Abuja. The senior special assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akande, revealed that Finer informed Oshibajo of a potential partnership with Nigeria on a G7 infrastructure program known as Build Back Better World. The U.S. President Joe Biden inaugurated the program in June 2021 and has made it a priority. Explaining the program, Finer said it involves bringing together a range of funding sources, development finance and private sector to work with key partner countries to develop their infrastructure and fill the gap between infrastructure needs and the current state of infrastructure. Oshibajo took the opportunity to express gratitude of the federal government to the U.S. government for donating over 3.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria. And the Secretary General Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, has emphasized the need to develop a fair, inclusive and comprehensive approach to addressing climate change challenge in order to ensure the involvement of the entire global community, including developing countries. Speaking at the third annual legal workshop organized by the Energy Charter Secretariat and the OPEC Fund for International Development workshop via video conference, Barkindo is of the view that multilateralism is at the center of energy, climate, and sustainable development future, adding that OPEC has continuously been a promoter of both sustainable development and efforts to combat climate change, with a focus on the need to utilize all solutions to reduce greenhouse carbon emissions and adapt to their impact, and at the same time ensure energy access for all. The Secretary General also highlighted the potential of oil and natural gas in supporting climate change mitigation efforts. And still talking energy, oil prices fell on Tuesday with Brent down a second straight day after Chinese data showed slowing economic growth and U.S. factory output dropped in September, raising fresh concerns about demand amid patchy recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. Brent crude was down by 43 cents at $83.90 a barrel after falling 0.6% on Monday. U.S. oil fell 33 cents to $82.11 a barrel, having risen 0.2% in the previous session and nearly 10% this month. This is coming at a time Republican members of the U.S. Congress are asking OPEC to ignore President Joe Biden's request for an increase in production of OPEC Plus oil, suggesting that America meets her needs with American-produced energy. That is a business and news. Mary, is over to you.
Many thanks, Benny. 2 traditional rulers have been killed, while others sustained various degrees of injury in Njaba local government area of Imo State. Governor Hope Uzodimma says efforts are on to fish out those behind the killings. Speaking to State House correspondents in Government House Owerri, Uzodimma said security operatives have been dispatched to fish out those behind the carnage.
The situation is very pathetic. The situation is condemnable. This is a new dimension to the banditry in the state, where they have to now begin to attack traditional rulers gathered in a hall in their normal meeting with the council chairman presiding. All I know is that we will take it very seriously, and we must go out to every length to ensure that those behind that crime are brought to book. We will never allow such thing to happen again in the state. We will really go after them.
Yeah, in our monthly meeting with our traditional rulers, and that was the one presiding over the meeting. As the meeting was coming to an end, we saw some people carrying guns, stormed into the council, and they besieged the council hall where the meeting was taking place, and they opened fire on those of us in the meeting.
Commiserating with the families of the slain traditional rulers, the governor promised his administration's determination to fight banditry.
I sympathize and condone the families and relatives of these traditional rulers that died. It is a very serious offense, it's unacceptable, it's condemnable, and we will never allow those who did it to go scot-free.
We head to Jos now, where Felicia will feed us with more news. Felicia, let's hear you.
Thank you, Ian Ray. Glad to have you join us in Jos. As part of efforts towards boosting the tourism potentials of Plateau State and in line with the diversification drive of the federal government, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, Ahmed Idris Wase, is collaborating with the State Tourism Corporation to build a resort around the Wase Rock. Ndayan and Abuja reports.
Wase Rock is situated in Wase, southern part of Plateau State. It is a massive dome-shaped rocky iceberg and over 400 meters above sea level. The rock is one of the only 5 breeding places for the rosy white pelican birds in Africa, among other wildlife. To this effect, the government now protects about 321 hectares of land around the rock.
It still harbors some species of baboons, monkeys, some small mammals and animals there. So we want the other side to still maintain its status quo of a game reserve.
However, over the years, the place has been moribund until the intervention of government through the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, who has concluded plans to build a resort around the Wase Rock as part of his constituency project. Already, site engineers and contractors are in Wase to survey the reserved area.
Towards the next weekend, the contractor will mobilize to site. Then proper groundbreaking will take place on Maui.
Earlier, the team paid a courtesy call on the Emir of Wase, where his representative, Badamai Mahmouda, Wazir in Wase, assures of the Emirates' readiness to support the project. In Jos, Indian and the Abuja, ATA News.
And that's it from Jos. Ian Ray is back to you in Abuja for what's left of the news.
Many thanks, Felicia. Let's take a quick break now. Let's join Badi Adeleye for a bit of sports.
Many thanks, Yaren. Team Delta have emerged champions of the 2021 National Youth Games in Ilorin, Kwara State, sitting on top of the final medals table with 60 gold, 26 silver and 28 bronze medals, totaling 114 medals. Lagos finished second with 72 medals, while Edo placed third with 40 medals. Host Kwara grabbed 32 medals to finish sixth, as FCT with 36 medals claimed the 7th position. The event, which had 36 states participating, including the FCT, was declared closed by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, on Tuesday, where he promised that young talents discovered at the Games will be nurtured to stardom. That's a bit on sports. It's back to Yari.
Many thanks, Badi. And that concludes Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. Please remember that the fight against rape and rapists is still on. Do your part. I'm Ian Ray John. Good night.